When teased, Asperger held that Haro lacked any sense of humor. He had a lost gaze and few facial expressions and gestures. Asperger decided that Haro demonstrated autistic psychopathy, but because of his intelligence, Haro was on the favorable end of the autistic range. That meant he was capable of remediation and joining the community. Children such as Haro could be taught social integration and be of social value in specialized technical professions. What these promising children needed, Asperger wrote, was individualized care to nurture their cognitive and emotional growth. He sympathized with their challenges, advocated their potential, and celebrated their uniqueness. This is the benevolent image of Asperger today, but it represents only one side of Asperger's work. While Asperger did support children he believed to be teachable, defending their disabilities, he was dismissive about those he believed to be more disabled. Deprecatory pronouncements could be a death sentence in the Third Reich, and in fact some of Asperger's judgments were death sentences. Although Haro passed Asperger's test, Asperger's label of autistic psychopathy still underestimated the boy. Asperger contended that autistic children did not really fit into this world and looked as if they had just fallen from the sky. But Haro had not really fallen. Like the fly, he was simply making his own way. Haro explained, "The fly is much more skillful and can walk up the slippery glass and can walk up the wall. Just yesterday I saw it has teeny-weeny claws on the feet and at the ends tiny little hooks. When it feels that it slips, then it hooks itself up with the hooks." This is not a story about one boy, however, nor is it about children on the luckier end of Asperger's autistic range. This book is about all the children who face the Third Reich's diagnosis regime, and how Nazi psychiatry judged their minds and determined their fates. Diagnoses reflect a society's values, concerns, and hopes. As this book uncovers the nightmarish contexts of autism's creation, it reveals how what today appears to be a singular idea rested upon the community that made it. Asperger's diagnosis of autistic psychopathy emerged from the values and institutions of the Third Reich. The term autism was introduced in 1911 by Eugen Bleuler, a Swiss psychiatrist who used it to describe schizophrenic patients who appeared disconnected from the outside world. Hans Asperger and fellow Austrian-born Leo Kanner were the first physicians to introduce the term autism as a standalone diagnosis to describe certain characteristics of social withdrawal. Others had described similar children, yet referred to them as schizoid. Over the years, a number of psychiatrists became captivated by children who were said to isolate themselves from others and the world around them, and developed different terms to classify them. Kanner, by then based at Johns Hopkins in the United States, where he would be regarded as the father of American child psychiatry, published his work on autism, Autistic Disturbances of Affective Contact, in 1943. The same year in Vienna, Asperger presented his postdoctoral thesis, The Autistic Psychopaths in Childhood, which he published in 1944. Kanner described children he considered to be relatively similar to one another. He saw them as socially and emotionally withdrawn and preoccupied with objects and rituals, with repetitive behavior, little to no speech, and severe cognitive impairments. This is now called classic or Kanner-type autism. For decades, practitioners in the United States went by this narrower definition. Autism was a relatively rare diagnosis, 1 in 5,000 in 1975. Asperger's definition of autistic psychopathy was much broader and included those he saw with far milder challenges. The children might, for example, have fluent speech and be able to attend a standard school.